Joe was not born into wealth or privilege. The youngest of 5 siblings in a small town, his childhood was filled with curiosity and resourcefulness. While his friends played football or video games, Joe was in the garage, tinkering with radios, toasters, and discarded gadgets. His hands were smudged with grease, his mind constantly buzzing with ideas. He wasn't trying to fix things for money. He simply wanted to understand how they worked. His father, a factory worker, often shook his head. "Joe, you've got to focus on something practical. Tinkering won't pay the bills." But his mother, with a knowing smile, would quietly slip him tools. "Let him explore," she'd say. "Curiosity builds character." By 15, Joe's makeshift garage workshop was a local legend. Neighbors brought him broken appliances, and Joe returned them as good as new. Yet, his dreams extended beyond fixing kettles and radios. He wanted to invent something entirely new. But dreams cost money, and money was something his family didn't have. When Joe graduated high school, college was out of the question. Instead, he took a job at a local electronics store. The pay was meager, but the job came with one perk: access to old, unsold gadgets. Joe spent his nights dissecting and rebuilding these devices. One evening, Joe had an idea. What if he could design a universal remote that synced with any device, no matter the brand? Over the next 6 months, he built prototypes, tested circuits, and even burned his fingers soldering wires more times than he could count. Finally, he had a working model. But then came the hard part: what to do with it. Joe had no connections, no funding, and no idea how to patent or market his invention. Determined, he saved up for a ticket to the nearest city and attended a small tech expo. His booth was a folding table, his display a hastily made poster, but his enthusiasm was contagious. One attendee, Lisa, a venture capitalist, took notice. "This is impressive," she said, examining Joe's prototype. "But what makes it different from others?" Joe's answer was simple: it's affordable, adaptable, and user-friendly. Anyone can set it up in under a minute. Lisa saw potential in Joe's passion and offered him a modest investment. With her guidance, Joe turned his prototype into a polished product and filed for a patent. Within a year, his universal remote hit the market. The response was overwhelming, and within months, Joe's operation struggled to keep up with demand. But success wasn't without challenges. Competitors began to notice, and Joe faced lawsuits from larger companies claiming his design infringed on their patents. It was Lisa who reminded him of his resilience. Together, they hired a legal team and fought back. The battle was long, but Joe's original design was vindicated. With his name cleared, Joe's company, TinkerTech, soared to new heights. He expanded his product line, hiring engineers who shared his vision. Yet, Joe never lost touch with his roots. His office was adorned with tools from his teenage years, and he often visited schools to inspire young tinkerers. Years later, at a global tech conference, Joe delivered the keynote address. Standing before thousands, he shared his journey. "Success isn't about where you start," he said. "It's about where your curiosity and determination take you." As the audience applauded, Joe glanced at the front row where his parents sat. His father, now retired, had tears in his eyes. "You did it, son," he whispered later. "No," Joe replied, smiling. "We did it." Years after Joe's rise to fame, a journalist uncovered a peculiar fact. Joe's universal remote wasn't entirely his idea. Hidden in a dusty corner of his garage was an old notebook from his late uncle, containing an early blueprint for a universal remote. Joe had unknowingly built on his uncle's forgotten dream. When confronted, Joe didn't deny it. "We're all standing on the shoulders of those who came before us," he said. This revelation didn't tarnish Joe's legacy, but added depth. It turned his story into one of family, inheritance, and honoring the past while building the future. Joe's journey shows that success is possible when we stay curious and never give up. If you found his story inspiring, give us a thumbs up, share it with friends, and let us know in the comments what part of Joe's journey resonated with you the most.